Today, Souheil Sammy Obaid is a proprietor of a successful business, the Mediterranean Market, on East Carson Street on the south side of Pittsburgh. He is happily married, and he and his wife, Wafa, raise their two young boys, Danny and Brian. But how exactly does a deep-rooted Syrian become a successful, happy-hearted businessman in Pittsburgh? We begin Sammy's journey in his home country of Syria. Sammy's father was a professor of English and his mother was also a teacher. Sammy was one of 8 children, 7 boys and 1 girl.
And I grew up with good family. I grew up with good, kids. I went to school every day. I don't get, I get a bad grade. My dad, he was teacher. Everybody know him, and everybody report to him. Everything I do bad, report to my dad, because all teacher know my dad, and my dad know all the teacher. Everybody have to be equal. Like we are 7 boys and 1 girl. But we respect our sister like is our, brother to us, and same her. She respect us as a boy, and this is what I do with my family and my kids now. I try to, I have 2 boys. I like to make them equal, like they are my friend. We spend a lot of time and yeah.
Sammy joined the Syrian army when he was only 18 years old. It was mandatory at the time in Syria to join the service right after you'd finished your high school education. He explains how he learned to rely only on himself and how the experience changed his life.
In my country, everybody doesn't have to school after 18. You have to go in service, and you have to serve your country for 30 months. But sometimes depend about if trouble a lot issue, you have to stay longer. And I went in like a Lebanon war was in 1980s, and I stayed like 5 years in army. Depend on myself, travel by myself, cook by myself, wash my clothes by myself, when I get angry, or mad, pray and think about it by myself. Nobody can help you, and you have to watch yourself.
Looking for an escape from the army and a new path in life, Sammy came to America in 1984 at age 28.
Like a government, they pick for you what you want to be, and that is I don't like. I don't like people pick stuff for me. I like to pick my own choice, my own destiny.
Joe and Mary Agnes Greer met Souheil Obaid in 1991 at St. Paul's Monastery on the south side of Pittsburgh through a mutual friend. At the time they knew Sammy, he was still just a cook at the University of Pittsburgh.
He immediately kind of caught my attention. He was a guy that was, although seemed like he was down on his luck, he never presented himself that way. He was a very positive guy.
So I saw a lot of promise and potential in him, and the desire to become westernized. He wanted to learn the American ways.
And I got to know him as a very, just a very focused, disciplined, committed person.
In 1998, Sammy returned to Syria to marry his wife, Wafa Dieb. Sammy had known Wafa and her family for a long time, but it was not a traditional marriage in the American sense.
And when I went over there, I saw her, and I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. We got married. In 10 days we get married. We got married before we date anything, and now we are happy.
He literally told us, my husband and I, that he was going back home to get a wife. And we thought that was kind of funny, but that's pretty much exactly, the way that it happened.
And this is a choice, and I make my choice to spend my rest of my life with my wife. And this is what she did. too. She did make commitment to spend her her life with me.
Sammy had finally found happiness after bringing his new wife Wafa back to America and starting a family.
And you know, because I stayed 14 years here, I was not happy. But when I met Wafa and my wife, and we married, and I found, you know, happiness. And I found myself. I am the mind of the family. She is the heart of the family, you know. And we have to keep working together. We can, you know, and she always like, she's there for me and she take care of me. And that keep me going. But if you encourage and you put it in your mind to do it and you put the right steps, you can do it. And that's what we did it. And we like to have bigger family, but it's good kids, two boys is enough. We are happy with them.
Sammy learned the English language simply through experience and schooling. He also receives help from his family, but he will always maintain his roots.
I try to learn reading and writing, but you know, I don't need it too much because I have kids, I have a wife, she very good educated about English, she educates herself, and you know, and I like to keep my accent too.
Brian Obaid, one of Sammy's sons, says that he has learned a lot from his father.
Like teaching me math, or like don't smoke or don't drink or something like that.
I like to teach my kids to be educated and to be working always, you know, like in school and finish school and finish education before any work, any making money.
It's like he taught me like how to play basketball and football, and also and he inspired me to like be a cook. Don't treat other people rude. If somebody be rude back to you, just like walk away or be nice to them or something like that.
Upon returning to the United States, Sammy grew tired of working jobs that he did not enjoy, but he still needed to provide for his family and two young sons, Danny and Brian. This is how the Mediterranean market was born.
One time I was talking to my friend, and my friend, he said, I was telling him I want to open a business, and he looked to me, he said, what business you want to open? And I told him about the laundry, and he said, no, you should open what you know. You are from Middle East, you should open a store like Middle Eastern style.
So he kind of moved around from job to job, and eventually put together enough capital by sheer raw discipline of saving money and spending very little. He was very, very frugal. The only thing he really saved money for were trips back home. He was able to put together enough capital, eventually leased and bought a property on the south side, a very busy business section of Pittsburgh on Carson Street, and eventually turned that into the what is now known today as the Mediterranean market.
In 2 years, you know, after like first year, it's getting harder, you know, and start go down, and you have to, you know, find a way to survive, and you have to find. But after like couple of years, people know you establish, and you start making money.
There are over 80 pubs and bars in the Southside Flats. Sammy started selling gyros late at night on the weekends, and it quickly became very profitable.
I found 8 years ago, I found a way to make money at night from drink people, and I opened gyro, and now I do gyro at night, and I do store Middle Eastern food a day. Like, I don't go out, we don't do nothing at night. Why we don't try it in weekend, like Friday, Saturday, and we sit down anyway, we sit down at home and we try it, and we start making money from it.
The Mediterranean market has a good working relationship with many of the local businesses on Carson Street. Fouad Kazor, the owner of the local subway, is particularly close with Sammy.
Yes, we are have a good relationship with each other, like neighbors, and we know each other. I'm Lebanese, I'm from Lebanon, and he's from Syria. We are like next to each other.
And we have to support each other to survival. If we don't support, we can make enemy. You know, because if we make enemy, we're not going to succeed. Best you can make a friend.
Well, between them, the relationship, because we are a neighbor, and because we are both of us from the Middle East, the Lebanese and the Syrian, we are on the same border, and it was easy for us to be a friend.
Sammy feels great affection for the United States of America, specifically Pittsburgh, and he is grateful every day that he had the chance to start a new life in a new country.
America is like, for many people, like, you know, like we can call ourselves American, but like for other people, they think so much about America. They think America is like a heaven. And when you came here, you born new. Pittsburgh give me a lot more I was expect to get from Pittsburgh, you know, like from city, you know, from people around. Give me that reason I love Pittsburgh. I call it second. I call it my home, you know, and my home, like, because my kids they born here, and now I am so attached to Pittsburgh, and I love Pittsburgh.
Sammy wants to show his children that they can do anything they want in life and choose their own path as long as they work hard and treat others respectfully each day.
And nothing comes easy, you know, like you have to work on it, but if you work and you work and you work, you can succeed, and you make what your dream, and your dream will come true.
My experience with Sammy is, as a true friend, he's very loyal. He'll do anything for you.
So he's very loyal and grateful for friendship.
Once he gets to know you, he wants to know all about you. He has a great memory. Remembers birthdays and significant other moments in his life, and always has a kind hand.
He's a very honest man too, and I really believe that that's part of the reason why he has succeeded in business.
Well, he has been like a fun guy with a lot of talent to make gyros.
From being a young boy in Syria to a soldier in the army, coming to America, returning to Syria to get a wife, coming back to the U.S. and buying and running a successful business, it is easy to say Souheil Sammy Obaid is living the American dream. But maybe he's best described still as a fun guy with a lot of talent to make gyros.